Okay. Good evening. I am Adriana. I am co-founder of Chapa to Beca, and on behalf of our team, we welcome you all to today's webinar. If you are thinking about pursuing a master's or PhD in engineering, you are in the right place. Today, we are going to share valuable information that will help you better understand how to get it and make the decision to start this new adventure. But before starting, I want to briefly explain why we are here. We are Chapa to Beca, a company that was funded with the purpose of supporting talented professionals like all of you to progress in your professional development, connecting your vocation with international study opportunities that elevate your competitiveness, develop your leadership, and empower you to build a better world. And how can we help you achieve this? We offer you an online course that provides you with a roadmap to start your application process, from defining the best study program according to your professional goals to making a list of all the requirements and documents you need to prepare. You will also find there a list of websites searching for scholarships and study programs around the world. In addition, we offer one-on-one or group mentoring sessions focused on the preparation of specific application requirements, such as the personal statement or the resume. If you would like more information about our course or our on-demand services, you can scan the QR and you will find there details of the topics and also access to a special discount code. And if you want to be updated on the events and webinars we organize, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So this is the second session of a webinar series that we have organized with the purpose of sharing with you information on how to apply to a master's or PhD program in the United States, specifically for master's and PhD in engineering. This webinar series was organized by Chapa to Beca and the Forum on Education Abroad. The Forum is a nonprofit membership association recognized by the US Department of Justice and the Federal Trade Commission as the Standards Development Organization for the field of education abroad. The Forum's mission is to cultivate educators who champion high-quality education abroad experiences that ignite curiosity, impact lives, and contribute to a better world. And sponsored by the US Department of State, the Wildlife Scholarship, and IRES. In today's webinar, we are going to talk about the opportunities you can take advantage of by pursuing a graduate program in engineering in the United States. We also are going to talk about the College of Engineering at Penn State, some funding opportunities at the graduate school, how the application process works, and a Q&A session with Stephanie and our three panelists who are current engineering students at Penn State. So you can share your questions through the Zoom chat and we will answer all of them at the end. And today we have a great panel from Penn State University. I would like to introduce you to Stephanie Kaufman. She is the Engineering Graduate Enrollment Coordinator at Penn State. She's focused on education surrounding the benefits of graduate school and providing support to those applying to the College of Engineering at Penn State. She has a master's in business and has worked in the engineering industry prior to joining the university in her current role. I would also like to introduce you to Danielle Paulino, Debrina Roy, and Danielle Guzman. Danielle is a PhD student in the Department of Architectural Engineering at Penn State University. Debrina Roy is a PhD student in the Department of Industrial and Manufacturing Engineering at Penn State. And Danielle Guzman is a PhD student in mechanical engineering. So welcome you all, and Stephanie, you can start your presentation right now.
Okay. It says that I can't do screen sharing.
Now you can.
Okay, wonderful. So let me just pull this up real quick. Thank you everyone for having me and for joining us today. Let me grab the right screen here and we'll get this shared. I apologize, my computer doesn't want to be cooperative today. Let's see, there we go. All right. So can everybody see my screen okay? Can you let me know?
We are looking at your presentation view. The one with the notes.
Okay, hold on 1 second. How about now? Okay. So hopefully this is a little bit better. So I am actually with the College of Engineering at Penn State University. My primary goal, as was mentioned, is to help students decide if they want to go to graduate school, especially within the College of Engineering. So you're probably wondering, why should I go to graduate school? What is the value for me? It depends upon what your goals are for the future. So if you want to broaden your knowledge base or know more about a specific specialization, graduate school is definitely a good option. If you need credentials, so maybe you need a master's or a PhD in order to advance within your current career, a graduate school pathway is an excellent choice. The other thing that I've really liked about graduate school is you have that networking ability. You get to work with experts in the field, and you also get to meet other experts. So you have that ability to build your network and have that greater visibility for the work that you're very passionate about. And as was mentioned, I have 3 panelists that are joining me from Penn State University's graduate school. So if each one of them would like to take a turn and tell us why they actually chose to attend graduate school.
I can go first. Can you hear me?
Yes.
So I wanted to go to grad school because I want to be a professor, so that made sense. And I wanted to have a competitive curriculum for that. So I did my master's in Brazil and my bachelor's also in Brazil, but I knew that if I did my PhD in the United States, that would help me to excel in my career goals. So that was mainly my objective.
Thank you, Danielle. I could go next. So I got my bachelor's in India in mechanical engineering, and then I knew I wanted to work in a engineering field, and I wasn't happy with just my bachelor's, and I knew I needed my master's to be more confident in my fundamental knowledge. So that's why I did my master's. I came to US to do my master's. And once I started working, I worked for like 2 years. I wanted to work in the research and development departments. And to work in those departments, you should be highly skilled. And that's where I spoke to my peers, and they advised that it's there are 2 ways, like either 10 or 15 years of experience, or being like having command in your studies. So that's why a PhD would be the best option. And so I came back to graduate school again to pursue a PhD, and then hopefully in the future work in the research and development innovation departments.
So I guess I can go next. So hey, this is Daniel. In particular for me, I got the opportunity to work in the industry for a couple of years before doing my master's degree. So I got the opportunity to compare the industry with the research side, because I had the opportunity also to work with a couple of research projects when I was an undergraduate student. So I kind of decided that the research lifestyle, if that makes sense, was a little bit better for me in terms of what I wanted to do in reality in the part of the development of products or just generating like knowledge or that kind of stuff. So yeah, I decided to go for the graduate school just because it felt like it was better for me in general terms. And yeah, I'm happy.
So thank you very much for that. So I focus primarily on Penn State College of Engineering. So the information I'm about to give you is about our college, but there are lots of other options for studying engineering at grad school in the United States. But specifically for Penn State, what sets us apart is that education and research are the important parts of our graduate education. We have over $150 million annually in research money. So we have a very large research pool of money. We have about 1,800 residential and online students. So don't think that, you know, I work professionally and I don't have the time or the money to invest in going to the United States to study. You can also study online. So just remember that you're not limited to just being on a US campus. You can also study online. We also have one of the largest alumni networks. So when you choose to come to Penn State, you join a very, very large family. So we have about 500 graduate students every year that get engineering degrees. And we're really big on inspiring change and impacting tomorrow. So there's lots of projects that you can work on if you want to join the research component of a graduate school degree. So like I mentioned, there's a couple of different grad programs that you can get into in engineering. So you can do a graduate certificate, which those are mostly done online. You can also get what we have called a Master of Science or a Master of Engineering degree, and then you can get your PhD or Doctor of Philosophy as well. So I want to ask our panelists, why did you guys choose Penn State as the place that you wanted to go to graduate school for?
I could go first. Yeah, so I chose Penn State because the industrial and manufacturing department is one of the top colleges in US. I think number 5 when I was applying, and I'm like, it was a no-brainer when I got the acceptance letter from Penn State. I readily accepted, and the faculty, like I tried to research, like try to reach out to all the faculty members. They were very responsive. So that's another reason. And there are like 5 excellent labs, like 3 of them that I was super interested in working with because they have like all this up-to-date facilities and everything. So those were some of the reasons why I chose Penn State. And even from the alumni, like I have some friends who went to Penn State before, and they advised me like this. Their postgraduate school experience has been very nice. They have gotten good jobs. So again, those are some more reasons why I chose this place.
Okay.
Can
So
I go next?
oh, sure. Go ahead.
I think Penn State, like Stephanie said, has a very well-known range of professors and a good quality research team, and that was what stand out to me, especially my department, because I'm in architecture engineering, and I always liked the computational side of engineering. So I could see that they have new research, they have a very groundbreaking research in terms of align engineering with computer science, and that caught my attention because I really wanted a degree that could be high level in terms of computational engineering.
Yeah, I guess I can contribute, and I agree. In my particular case, since I am an acoustic engineer, and that is one of those disciplines that they are not easy to find in all universities. And actually, Penn State is the only U.S. university with a graduate program in acoustics. So that's like a very big thing to make that decision. But since I went for a mechanical engineering master's, so I kind of get into the position where I found like a very strong mechanical engineering department and very strong acoustics department. And there is plenty of research. There is plenty, not only like government funded research, but industry funded research. And that's, I guess, more than enough to choose Penn State. Yeah.
So to kind of go along with what Daniel pointed out, that he studied mechanical in his undergraduate, but he was interested in acoustics. Penn State actually has 23 engineering disciplinaries, and all of those disciplines overlap. So you can go into graduate school in mechanical engineering and also study with the acoustics discipline. So you can do that interdisciplinary study, and it's a really cool thing that we do here. We also have like biomedical engineering that works with our College of Agriculture. So you can really get across different disciplines. And one thing to keep in mind with graduate studies, say for example, you're a mechanical engineer. That does not mean you have to get your graduate degree in mechanical engineering. You can absolutely go into aerospace or acoustics. You are not stuck in that one specific degree. So just kind of keep in mind about that. And our panelists have really already kind of talked about their disciplines that they are focused on. So there's lots and lots of options and plenty of research opportunities within these disciplines. So you're probably thinking, okay, great. Graduate school sounds really interesting. I'd love to do it, but how am I going to pay for it? There's lots of different options. So there are fellowships, research assistantships, teaching assistantships, scholarships. There is money out there. And the nice thing about Penn State, especially if you come through the College of Engineering, is we help you find that funding. So programs, when they do put in proposals for research, they look to hire graduate students to help with that research. So there's money there. They can help with the tuition. International students as well. Sometimes the country that you're coming from will offer you scholarships or money towards going to a US grad school. So there's lots and lots of options, and we have a lot of experts on our campus that can help you find that money so that you don't have to worry about taking out student loans or anything like that in order to fund your graduate school. So just keep that in mind, that once you take that step and decide you want to apply, the funding will come. We will help you find that funding. So when it comes to applying for graduate school, there are a couple of things that you need. And you have great resources to help you pull this stuff together, but you would need a personal statement. So basically, why it is you want to go to grad school. For our graduate applications, we need 3 letters of recommendation. You need transcripts for your undergraduate studies, and then test scores. One thing I will tell you is I have listed here the GRE and the TOEFL. A lot of our programs at Penn State are waiving the GRE. So you would just need to reach out to me or the program that you're interested in to see if they're waiving that for this coming year or whatever year you're choosing to apply for. And lastly, there is an application fee, but I will tell you that anyone that has attended this workshop is eligible for a fee waiver. All you have to do is reach out to me. My email will be supplied at the end and it'll be available for you later. Reach out to me, let me know that you attended this webinar, and I will be more than happy to offer you a fee waiver when you're ready to apply to graduate school. So a little bit about the process. So you just really need to explore the program that you're interested in. And I can help you get in contact with faculty or program heads to really focus in on that. Look at the application requirements. So see if they need GREs, see if there's anything specialized that they need. All programs are able to set their own deadlines. We have a general application deadline of around December 15th, but the programs can adjust those deadlines if they need to. So we need to make sure that we're just checking on those deadlines. You can create a graduate school account, complete the application on or before the deadline, and then just make sure that you have all of the materials needed that I mentioned earlier, the statement of purpose, the resume, letters of recommendations, test scores. And then you really just wait for a notification of a decision. Unfortunately, decision times vary by program. But then once you receive a decision, you'll get a communication from the program, an email from the graduate school, and then you have the option to accept or decline whatever offers are there. The programs will also send you information on what funding is available. So if there's research projects that they have money available to pay your tuition or a stipend, they will let you know what those are, and you have the ability to accept or decline those offers as well. And then this is just a couple of people besides myself that are available as resources. So if you have questions, you can reach out to any of the three of us. We are all within the College of Engineering, and we deal primarily with graduate students. There is a huge community for our graduate students. So we want everyone to feel welcomed and also make the application process to graduate school pretty seamless, pretty painless. So if you reach out to us, we'll be more than happy to help you with that, as well as get you in touch with any faculty or programs that you're interested in and get you that additional information. So at this point, we're going to open it up to questions for our panelists. So if you have any questions, as it was mentioned earlier, please just put them in the chat and they will be happy to answer as many questions as we can in the time remaining. I do have a couple of questions too that we can use to get them started until you get all your questions. Go ahead.
Yes, I can help you with that, Stephanie. Here we have a question from Demi. She says, if I have a bachelor's degree in industrial engineering, can I study a master's degree in biomedical engineering, or what other requirements would she have to demonstrate to be a good candidate for this master?
Yes, you can. That's the nice thing about Penn State. We have a lot of cross-disciplinary studies that you can do. You're not, just because you studied industrial engineering as a bachelor's degree does not mean you have to study graduate school in that. We have a lot of research programs. Biomedical engineering especially has a lot of that interdisciplinary crossover. So yeah, you can absolutely study that. And I can get more information on that from the program.
Okay, we have a lot of questions about the scholarships and financial aid. The first one is, what do faculty scholarships cover? And is it possible to get a full financial aid from the university?
Yes, it is possible to get full financial aid from the university. And it comes from different sources. So you may get money from a specific research program. You may get money from a specific program. So perhaps industrial engineering has a scholarship fund set up or has funding set up. They can give you parts of that. So yes, it just really depends on the financial need and then the research projects. But yes, you can get full funding for your full 4 years, 6 years, however long it takes you to do your graduate school.
And there is another question. What do I have to do to keep the scholarship? When it comes to, it's about the faculty scholarships.
For that, it's just meet the requirements that the program or the faculty have set up. I'm not aware of anything specific beyond that. But we do have an entire department that can help with the funding part and can make sure you clearly understand requirements. I'm not aware of students losing funding in general.
Mm-hmm. And also we have another question from Miguel. He says, what is the estimated cost of a master's degree and how much can financial aid help reduce this cost?
I will be honest, I don't handle finance side, funding side. It really just depends upon the program. So it honestly gets handled on a case-by-case basis.
Okay. Okay. Here is a question from Fiorella. What is the difference between a Master of Science and a PhD?
Does one of the panelists want to cover this? Because I think you guys have both masters and PhDs.
Yes, maybe I can try. So essentially, you have the master's degree, which is like the entry level for the graduate school, and then you have the PhD. So usually, you need a master's degree to get enrolled in a PhD degree. And some programs have two different kinds of master's degrees. So you have masters in engineering and masters in science. The difference is that the masters in science is mostly based or focused on research. The masters in engineering is a little bit more focused on skills and classes and kind of giving you some tools to apply in the industry. So yeah, and it also depends on the department. You have different requirements to fulfill for the masters in engineering, but for the master in science, usually you have to write a thesis or publish an article. And for the PhD, it's the same: a thesis, a dissertation, and publish a couple of articles.
Also, I'd like to add the duration for masters. Usually it's like 2 years. And for PhD, for my department, it's okay if you do not have a master's. If you have a bachelor's, you can join a BS, the MS PhD program, which is master's along the way. So there are like certain core courses that if you take, you can get a master's. And if you don't want a master's, you want direct PhD, you can just take the courses that you want, you're passionate about. And along with that, there will be some 3 core courses that you have to take, and you can get a PhD. And another thing is in masters, it's like very course heavy, like and another difference in masters, it's course heavy. There's 6 credits of research, and in PhD, the first 2 years focus on coursework, and the remaining time is completely research work. So you apply all the skills that you learned and work in a lab. So those are some of the things I wanted to add.
Thank you, Sabrina. Actually, we had a question from Eleni who says, what would you recommend to a telecommunication engineering student who has not finished her degree yet, but would like to take these research courses that you have mentioned? We also have other questions, I think, are for our panelists. It says, what other alternatives do Penn State students use to cover their tuition fees and life expenses?
There are some, I can respond on that. There are some existing fellowships that we can apply for, especially being from underrepresented group in engineering. Like I'm a Latin American and also women. So there are a lot of existing fellowships that focus on women engineering, or either like Latin American countries, and you could apply for the, I've this year, for example, applied for 5 fellowships already, so I'm waiting for hear back from them. And usually also your professor can apply for like a research project, and you can make a fellowship out of that big research grant. So there are the National Science Foundation and other existing national science in the United States that could provide you that.
Okay, thank you. I think this question is for Stephanie. How early should I start preparing my application before the application deadline?
So probably the biggest piece is, well, there's probably 2 big pieces. So making sure that you have the 3 reference letters. You want to have a conversation with who you want to write those references. So the earlier that you do that, the better. That way you can kind of have an idea of what they're going to say. And just in case somebody decides that they don't have time to do it, that way you have time to prepare for that. And then the other piece that's time consuming is if you're required to take the GRE or the TOEFL exams, because you have to get those scheduled in, and you want to make sure that you're good with those test scores. So those are the 2, I think, biggest aspects that take the most time. But if you've already taken them, you already have those squared away, you can easily apply anytime. We have an open application period. We just have, like, for people that want to start in the fall of next year, we try to get their applications in by December 15th of the year before. But I will be honest, like, I'm personally applying for a PhD program. I'm finishing up my application now. It's due December 15th. I just started it 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, if you have those other pieces in place, you can start it at any time.
Great. It also says, how important is the GRE score and also the TOEFL or IELTS score when applying?
GREs are becoming less important, I will be honest. GREs, a lot of our programs are starting to waive those scores, but it is one of those cases of you need to check with the program. Some programs have not started waiving them, but a large majority have. So those aren't quite as important. TOEFL scores, I think we have enough programs on campus that if it's not a perfect score, that we can help accommodate that. So while it's helpful to have that score, it's not going to make or break your acceptance into the university.
Okay, it also says, how can I start preparing myself to apply?
I'm not sure if one of the panelists wants to talk about this, because I don't have experience with the international testing and things. I mean, that's the big thing, is the testing, the TOEFL, taking the GRE, getting on the schedule, studying for those. But beyond that, I don't think there's a specific timeline. So, I mean, you could decide tomorrow that you want to apply and the application is open. You can absolutely do that.
Maybe we can go for this question first. I lost the questions, I'm sorry. Which would be a suggestion to have an attractive profile for the faculty? What is expected for from a engineering graduate candidate?
Do any of the panelists want to talk about what your application kind of looked like, or because you've all been accepted into the program? So I don't know if you have tips for people on how to write a good personal statement or anything like that.
Let me see. So maybe I can have a couple of suggestions in general terms. What is more important is how well your profile fits the professor profile. So if you are an industrial engineer and your professor is working with industrial engineering things, most likely you are going to fit the professor profile, but you have to know that most professors are working in many different things. So my suggestion is to go for the search and explore all the website for Penn State, go for the departments or go for professors, or just try to find a couple of papers or publications or conferences where someone from Penn State has been there. And if you find a professor who is working in something that you like or in something that you have worked before, most likely the professor will be interested in you, because most of the time what really matters is that you have the qualifications for a specific project or a specific need on our laboratories, or imagine that one of those professors just got a new grant and have like a lot of budget, and he needs a couple of master's students and a couple of PhD students. So the professor will start looking for students with very specific profile. So just try to find a professor who is working in something that you like, in something that you are good at, and maybe you can just write an email, shoot an email to the professor, and say like, hey, this is me, this is what I do, I'm good doing these things, and I think you might be interested because you have been working on this. And hopefully the professor has some budget and you will get funded.
Can
Yeah,
this?
I agree.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You can go. No, I was going to say that I really agree with Daniel, because that happened to me. I first saw the position from my professor, and then she accepted me, and then later I pursued the application through Penn State. So it was kind of the opposite. So that may also apply to your case. So if you really find a professor that matches what your knowledge and what is the skills that you have developed. For example, as I said, my background is really computational science, and my professor has an interdisciplinary lab. So she's looking for electrical engineering. Although we are in architecture engineering, there are some, I'm a civil engineer in my undergrad, but I work more with computational science, and there are some electrical, some computational scientists in the group, some civil engineers. She's also a physics. So it's a kind of fitting the right profile of the professor. I really agree with Daniel.
I also want to quickly add, same thing with me. I come from two different backgrounds, mechanical and biomedical. So when I was applying, I made sure in my personal statement, and even both the panelists, I reached out to the professors who were specific. My job experience was in biomedical devices, but I was interested in manufacturing. So I found professors who are working in both those fields, like they have published research in those, and I reached out to them. They were very happy with my profile, and then we started talking. And the personal statement try to emphasis on your experiences and how it is related to what you want to do in that particular professor's lab, like how you can contribute, talk about your skills, and those are like some ways you can like make your application stand out.
Yeah, and I guess I didn't mention, but it was the same for me, and it's been the same for many people I know here. In my lab, I've been working with 3 different labs, and all the master students and PhD students, all of them, at least all that I know, they have been receiving money from projects, but the projects must be awarded first to the professor. So if the professor has a project, the professor will contract some students. And this is how you get money, essentially. So yeah, I guess it's very common. Probably the most common way to get funding.
Great. The next question is, many professionals decide to apply to more than one graduate program. So how should I evaluate my options if I receive more than one admission offer, from your opinion?
I could go for this. So I myself, I applied to 5 places, and I made like a priority list. Like I made sure, like first of all, they should meet, like if they are funding me, and if I'm really interested in that work. So I made like a Excel sheet, and I wrote the university name, and then I wrote like what I like about them. And then when I got acceptance from those universities, I saw which one stood out more. And another thing, when I was applying, I applied to Penn State was my top priority, and then since I did my master's in NJIT, I already had offers from them. But biggest help was with alumni as well. Alumni, like from Penn State, I spoke to many people. They said that the job prospect is really good since I want to go back to the industry. So that was like, I looked at all the pros and cons, and then with that, I decided. That helped me decide what college, which universities to select.
Okay, I have here another question. I think it could be for Stephanie. Where can we get the syllabus of the masters, and how long are those? David says, I am interested in master in industrial engineering.
You can actually get it through our website. Usually when you click on the graduate school on the College of Engineering website, you can actually see what the classes are that would be required through the bulletin. Get you all that information. I can send you the information sheets that we have for that, if that helps.
Okay, Stephanie, thank you very much. And thank you to our 3 panelists, Daniel Guzman, Daniel Melo, and Debrina Roy. Thank you very much for being here and for sharing all this really valuable information. If there is any question, I don't know if you have a final message for our attendants.
If you think of any additional questions, you're welcome to email me. And like I said, for us, if you decide that you're interested in applying to Penn State and you would like a fee waiver, please reach out to me and I'll be happy to help you with that. As well as I know a lot of our panelists mentioned specific program you want to talk to somebody with. I will be more than happy to get you matched up with faculty that you can email with or talk to through Zoom or Skype or whatever works for you, or even the WhatsApp. So just let me know if you want to be matched up to get more information. I can absolutely help with that.
And from our panelists who maybe sometimes get hesitated about this applying to a university in the United States, because it is a really complicated process. So what message can you share with all our attendees that are potential candidates to graduate program in the USA?
I would say make lots of lists, because there are so many things you will forget. So make list, and then you have to scratch things out once you are done with that task. Because there are so many things involved, like you have to and follow up, like the 3 recommendation letters. That is, like if you're a really good the professors, you have to keep following up with them, because it's very critical for the deadline. And you have to keep even the transcript from your bachelor's, like from India, it was a little hard for me, because I was in my last semester, and to get that transcript, I had to take I had to see if I can give a provisional transcript. So you have to be aware of all this process if you're in your last semester, and reach out to the administrative, like if a provisional certificate will work, things like that. So definitely make a list of things, and then keep scratching things out one by one once you start. And if you're doing GRE exams, maybe solving question papers help a lot. Like there are many question papers online, just solving the questions. That gives you a really good idea of like what kind of questions will come, and it will save time than going through chapter wise if you buy a book or courses like that.
Yeah, I agree with Sabrina. I think you have to be really careful with all the application, especially with the transcripts. Also mine, I had to translate them because all of my transcripts were in Portuguese. So I know probably that happens often in Latin American countries. So you would have to get official transcript, like translated transcripts. So that also takes time. So it's good to be ahead of time to do all of this process. I know they probably also let you send them later sometimes. Maybe Stephanie knows more about it, but my department allowed me to send the translated transcripts a little bit later of the application.
Yeah, it's true. It happened to me actually. I sent the documents a little bit later, but it was just very project specific. It was because of the project funding. My advice will be, I guess, patience and don't give up, because it's a long process. It's a lot of paperwork involved, but it's possible and it's worth. And so I will say that the first and probably the most important thing you have to get ready to start with is getting the language certification, because not only you need the paper for the application, but you need like to speak and listen and read and write. And if you are not able to communicate well enough, maybe you are not a candidate. So start with the language certificate, and you can actually do it now before applying, because most of those certificates are valid for 2 years, 1-2 years, or maybe more. So just do the exam, do the IELTS, TOEFL, anything you need, and if you succeed, you can apply now. Look for a professor, get in touch with a couple of professors if possible beforehand, and good luck.
Thank you very much. Thank you once again, Stephanie, Danielle, Melo, Daniel, Guzman, and Debrina. Thank you for being here. We are finishing our webinar. Thank you very much. See you later. See you soon, hopefully. Bye-bye.